This is Boxing with Chris Mannix.
Oh, somebody punch him in the face.
Let's look ahead to this weekend where Terence Crawford is in action. We knew Terence Crawford was going to fight, although it has been one of the most bizarre promotions that I've seen in recent memory, Jake, because every interview Crawford does, if he mentions David Avanesyan, it's in passing. It's never a conversation about David Avanesyan. It's entirely about why the Errol Spence fight isn't happening, to the point where I was told, Crawford was being told, don't do any more interviews this week if all they want to talk about is Errol Spence. Because it doesn't help the pay-per-view or the people putting up money for it to have Terence Crawford constantly talk about the fight that didn't happen, and for the perception to be disappointment that this is a fight against David Avanesyan. So I guess I'll start here. Is this a remotely competitive fight? Avanesyan's won some fights in a row. Whenever he stepped up, whether against Lamont Peterson or others, he's not performed well. Is this a competitive fight at this stage?
I think it's more competitive than people are. People are just completely dismissive of David Avanesyan because they remember, like you said, they remember him from the Lamont Peterson fight. They remember him getting cooked by, Mean Machine. So he has the 6-fight win streak. It is kind of on that, the domestic level of the European level. He knows he doesn't know he's in way over his head. We kind of know he's in way over his head, but I think he'll be competitive. We've seen Bud struggle with guys where he doesn't completely get up for, Mean Machine even had him hurt a couple of times. So he has those lapses in fights like this. So I do expect Bud to eventually get him out of there. I don't, Avanesyan told me, he's like, I'm absolutely going to knock this fight's going to end in knockout. I'm going to get my 7th knockout in a row. I agree with you. The fight's going to end in knockout. I don't think it'll be a complete mismatch from the opening bell, but I do think as the fight gets going, Avanesyan's going to realize, okay, this is not Kerman Leharaga. This is not Josh Kelly. This is a real fight. And Bud, he's once he gets going, he's like a freight train rolling downhill.
I loved the idea of Avanesyan against Virgil Ortiz when that was being discussed earlier this year. That made sense as a more competitive fight. I just don't see it being competitive. But Avanesyan is an aggressive fighter, and he's at some point he's going to walk into something huge and something he didn't see coming, and he's going to get dropped and he's going to get hurt, and Bud's going to win. I guess the only question I have is, Bud's been off for over a year. He's 35 years old. He was hurt, a couple of fights ago against Agus Kavalauskas. Is there anything? Has he been diminished at all at this stage of his career? But if he's the Bud Crawford we're used to seeing, and he claims he is, he doesn't have a ton of miles on his tires because of the way the last couple of years have gone. I just don't see Avanesyan being able to hang with him. I mean, God, I generally don't weigh in on pay-per-view numbers or anything like that, but I mean, good luck with this one. The promotion has been just an abject disaster. It just has. Right. And if the Prograis Zepeda fight was a bad pay-per-view, and I've been told it was pretty catastrophic, I don't know how much better this one is going to be, because nobody's going into this fight believing it's going to be competitive. And as compelling as Bud Crawford is, you're just, no one's paying 40. The money being a little bit lower is good. That's a positive for pay-per-view. I hope more people try that, but nobody's really paying for an appearance fee, for a fight like this. I mean, I just don't see it at this point. So
no, I'm with you on that. It's just been such a bizarre promotion, like you said, and just the whole thing with wanting transparency in the Errol Spence fight, but yet not getting any of it with the BLK Prime people. It's we still we know what we've read about those guys, but we're not getting any answers on that front. It's Sam Kokovsky's kind of been the only, I'm not even gonna say face, the only voice in this promotion.
He is the face. He is the face of it. He's the manager for Regis Prograis is now the front man for BLK Prime. And I like Sam, but it's sort of bizarre.
And he's usually the behind the scenes guy. We both know, he has a great relationship with the media, but now it's the behind the scenes guy who's, decided to take the lead because nobody else would. But yeah, it's just been a bizarre one.
Yeah. I you know what? I don't, the blame game has been played for these last few weeks. I don't even know. nobody really knows who should be blamed for the failure of Spence Crawford. I mean, Bud's got his fans and supporters. They back him to the hilt. The Spence fans, they're jumping up and down on Bud on social media. And he's obviously reading all of it because he's weighing in every 30 minutes on with some kind of counter argument. It's just been crazy to watch him do Instagram lives, and then the two of them are arguing for hedge funds on social media. It's like it's a clinic on what not to do after a fight kind of falls apart. But I'll tell you this. I have never once blamed Bud Crawford for taking this fight. Like, if he really is guaranteed $10 million, and supposedly half of the money is already in his bank account, if he is guaranteed $10 million, who the hell wouldn't take that to fight David Avanesyan? Like, obviously you care about exposure if you're Bud Crawford, but you've been on ESPN for a long time. You care about legacy and all that. But if someone's going to write a check for $10 million to fight David Avanesyan, you take it. You take it, and then you worry about the next fight after that fight is over. The problem with this, and this goes back to Prograis Zepeda too, like the problem is these people jumping into boxing with no coherent game plan. Like the Marv Nation, the people behind Marv Nation that put Prograis Zepeda together, like people that were there told me there were like 5,000 fans in attendance, and as I said, the number for pay-per-view was awful. And now you have, and I don't know what they want to pay in $2.5 million just for that fight alone to Prograis and Zepeda. And now you have this event, which has got to be costing them, like for the main event alone, $10-11 million, depending on whatever Avanesyan's getting. And like, there's no, this is the boxing equivalent of lighting money on fire. Like, and this is the problem. Like when you have kind of these one-off newcomers coming into the game because boxing has no barrier for entry, it kind of screws up things for other entities in the long term that are trying to build a sustainable business. And so it's good for, like, I can't blame Crawford one bit. I don't blame Prograis one bit. I don't blame Zepeda one bit. But these entities that are coming in with no game plan whatsoever, it hurts the overall business of boxing.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And that's always been, I mean, it's been the problem for years. It's like every time there's new money, the same people are always chasing it. You know, we know the promoters, we know the managers, they line their guys up right away. And then there's nothing left. It's like you pick all the meat off the bone. And then these guys, they have to know they're going to, I think the BLK people know they're going to lose their shirt in this one.